welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I've got 3 meta arena teams that you guys can use right now before the season does officially end. And also, before we get started, I want to do a quick shout out to Lumen Mars and Direct in Discord for actually showcasing and helping me build these 3 teams. Diving right into the team, we've got Hollyberry Cookie in the front, we've got Stardust and Blueberry Pie in the center, we've got Moonlight Cookie, and then Pure Vanilla Cookie in the back. As far as the treasures, we've got the Whistle, the Jelly Watch, and then the Rare Scroll. It's important to note that you can actually swap out the Jelly Watch to the new Sleepyhead's Jelly Watch if you do happen to have it at a max level 12. Unfortunately, I only have it at level 11. Now, it's worth mentioning the reason why we're not using the Old Pilgrim Scroll and instead we're using the rare version for the Disciples Scroll is specifically for the 30% increase to defense. This is going to allow your cookies to stay alive a lot longer and allowing you to get the win. As for the toppings for this team, Hollyberry Cookie's running a full Swift Chocolate build. The reason being is we're aiming to max out the damage resistance and get as much cooldown as you possibly can. You really want to make sure that Hollyberry is using her skill as often as possible, and that's going to be the reason why we're running a full Swift Chocolate build instead of a full Solid Almond build or a damage resistance build. Blueberry Pie is going to be running a full Searing Raspberry. Again, this is going to be designed for Blueberry Pie to be doing a mega ton of damage. So the 2 stats are going to be stacking up damage resistance and the attack percent. You want to make sure that she does have enough damage resistance to stay alive, but enough attack to make sure that she is worth being there. The brand new Stardust is going to be running a full apple jelly set, specifically for the crit percent. Because remember, on his skill, as you can see here, if it does pop a critical strike, the target will then fall asleep. So you definitely want to be making sure that you're taking advantage of the crit percent, running a full apple jelly set. However, your next focus should be stacking up as much damage resistance as you possibly can to aid in their survivability. The legendary Moonlight's going to be running a full Searing Raspberry build. The main one is going to be stacking up 8% for cooldown. This is going to allow you to utilize the skill at a perfect rotation. The next important one would be damage resistance to aid in her survivability, and then the attack percent, so then she's obviously putting out more attack. And then last but not least, Pure Vanilla Cookie is going to be running a mixed set. We've got 3 solid almonds and 2 Swift chocolates. This is going to allow you the perfect balance between damage resistance to aid obviously in their survivability of him staying alive, but then also a decent amount of cooldown. As much cooldown as you possibly can get after stacking a good amount of damage resistance will aid in him utilizing his skill more often. Now, diving into team number 2, and that is the Scam Comp. We've got Milky Way and Donut in the front, Captain Caviar and Moonlight in the center, and then Squid Ink in the back. We've got the Old Pilgrim Scroll, the Whistle, and then the Revive Feather. As for the toppings, Donut's going to be running a full Swift Chocolate build. The main focus is stacking up the cooldown as much as you possibly can. We've got 23.2%, and then alongside that, stacking up as much damage resistance as you possibly can to aid in their survivability. Milky Way as well is going to be running a full Swift Chocolate build. The main focus here is just stacking up as much cooldown as you possibly can, aiding them utilizing their skill more often. Captain Caviar, the main staple for how this team works really well, is going to be running a full Searing Raspberry build. The main focus is legitimately stacking up as much attack as you possibly can. The whole idea is for him to die and to come back alive, and you do that by making sure he has the lowest amount of damage resistance on the team. You don't need any additional cooldown as it will mess up the overall rotation. Just stack up as much attack as you possibly can. For Moonlight as well, being a damage dealer, we're stacking up Searing Raspberries. The main focus is that 8% for the overall cooldown, and then stacking up as much damage resistance as you can to aid in their survivability, along with attack percent to maximize their damage output. And then last but not least, we have Squid Ink, again, another damage dealer, going to be pumping a full Searing Raspberry build. The main focus here is stacking up as much damage resistance as you possibly can, attack percent to aid in them doing a ton of damage, alongside 4.3% at least for the cooldown. Now, keep in mind that this is the Scam Comp, all right? The whole premise behind this is to allow your first rotation to go off, Captain Caviar to die, use the Revive Feather to come back alive, and then pop off a second round of their skill. And then that pretty much, if it works out correctly, will destroy the enemy's team, or at least most of the cookies, allowing you to secure the win. Unfortunately, though, if you do run up against a very frontline tanky team, specifically teams that are utilizing Werewolf Cookie, well, then you might struggle a little bit, and I would really not advise trying to utilize the Scam Comp to take that on. And then last but not least, this final team is the best defense currently right now that you guys can set and utilize to your advantage to maintain your position. And that team is going to consist of Hollyberry and Werewolf Cookie in the front, Stardust Cookie and Moonlight Cookie in the center, and then Pure Vanilla Cookie in the back. We've got the Revive Feather, the Whistle, and then also the Jelly Watch. As for the toppings, Holly Berry is going to be running a full solid almond set. The main focus here is stacking up as much damage resistance as you possibly can to aid in her survivability. Werewolf Cookie as well is going to be running a full solid almond set. Again, the main focus is stacking up as much damage resistance because you want to make sure that them two being on the front line can take a lot of damage. Stardust Cookie this time is going to be running a mixed set. 3 solid almonds and 2 apple jellies. This is going to allow you to stack up as much damage resistance as you possibly can to aid in their survivability, but still maintaining a decent amount of crit percent to take advantage of him popping off a critical strike to put the enemies asleep. The main requirement here is going to be 27% at least for the crit percent chance. The rest of it stack back into damage resistance. Moonlight Cookie is going to be running a full Swift Chocolate build. Again, this is going to be a balancing act between stacking up damage resistance as much as you possibly can to aid in her survivability, and then the cooldown as much as you can. We've got 23.2% here to aid in them utilizing their skill more often. And then Pure Vanilla Cookie is going to be running a mixed set. Once again, 2 Swift Chocolates and 3 solid almonds. This is going to allow us to get a good amount of damage resistance to aid in his survivability and staying alive, and then also a decent amount of cooldown to aid in them utilizing their skill more often. And it's also worth mentioning that you can run a full Swift Chocolate build here on Pure Vanilla if you happen to get some really high damage resistance substats and cooldown substats. So it's really going to all depend on what you currently have. I myself do utilize the mix set because I find these solid almonds do a better job at keeping him alive. With that being said, though, guys, that's going to conclude the 3 meta teams that you guys can build right now and utilize to your advantage for the remaining 2 days of this season. Good luck, everybody out there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything Cookie Run Kingdom related. And with that being said, as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.